Hello, this is a homily for the fourth Sunday of the year. And as you know, we have, first of all, a reading from the book of Jeremiah. And Jeremiah is literally being constituted, if you like, by the word of the Lord that comes to him and explains to him that he's chosen him even before he was in the womb, so that before you were born, I dedicated you. And then he goes on to say, well, you are going to present my message, my words, but you'll not be crushed on that account, as though I would leave you crushed before them. God is expecting that there be a really strong resistance to what Jeremiah is going to do. For it is I, he says, who have made you a fortified city, and then a whole lot of other metaphors as well, against Judah's kings and priests. And they will fight against you, but not prevail against you. For I am with you to deliver you. Here is the concession, if you like, of God giving Jeremiah his power so that he is protected, he is safe, regardless of the reaction that he experiences. Then we have Psalm 71, and Psalm 71 goes into if you like, the faith of someone who is a faithful person, and consequently, never let me be put to shame. Incline your ear to me and save me. I will sing of your salvation. There's a mission here, and the person who is faithful knows that they have a mission there, and the mission is to sing of the work of salvation that God is doing in the world. Again, rescue me from the hand of the wicked, just as God told Jeremiah. I depend on you, and here again we have the mission. My mouth shall declare your justice, day by day your salvation. And till the present I proclaim your wondrous deeds. So there we have the interior experience, if you like, of the one who is the faithful prophet and who is confident that God is helping him. Then we go to the gospel, which is a continuation of the Gospel of Luke that we read last week. And here you have Jesus. We kind of back up a little bit, saying in the synagogue, today the scripture passage is fulfilled in your hearing. And instead of having any kind of positive reaction, you have a whole pile of negative reactions. Essentially, this is the hostile world, this is the sinful world, and this is the sinful people in that world who are rejecting the fact that this man could possibly have any message for us. Isn't this the son of Joseph? And then he says, you will say to me, physician, cure yourself, and say, do here in your native place the things we've heard were done in Capernaum. And I say to you, he doesn't go and do prophetic works. He says, no prophet is accepted in his own native place. And then he gives us a couple of examples of prophets working. One was Elijah going to the widow at Zarephath, and there was a famine, and it is Elijah who keeps her and her son alive for the 3.5 years of the famine. Then you have the story of the lepers, and Elisha the prophet doesn't cure every single leper who existed at his time, but he says only Naaman the Syrian. Now that was enough to anger the people, and they rose up, drove him out of the town, led him to the brow of the hill on which their town had been built, to hurl him headlong. And then this absolutely amazing line, but Jesus passed through their midst and went away. So what we were seeing, we heard Jeremiah the prophet. We then heard the kind of interior experience of the prophet in the psalm. And then we come to this new prophet, Jesus of Nazareth, who has read from the prophet Isaiah, said that everything that Isaiah said applies now to him, and he has to deal with this horrible reaction, violent reaction. They're not taking any half measures, they just want to kill him. And Jesus passes through the midst of them and went away. Now, what has that got to do with us? First of all, it tells us that God is working in the life of Jesus and in the whole history of salvation, and we are part of that history of salvation. Then, and you can find this very easily in the Vatican II documents, because we are baptized, we are incorporated into Christ. And so we share the offices, the official work that he came to do, and which he still does through the church. We share in the offices of prophet, priest, and king. These were individually the mediators in the Old Testament, because it depended on the quality of the prophets, the quality of the priests, and the quality of the kings. Jesus himself is the perfect prophet, the perfect priest, and the perfect king. And he has shared this power, in this particular set of readings, the power of prophecy, with us. And allied with this power to speak, in other words, having the sheer courage to speak and knowing what to say, he is also protecting us. He is also the wall of bronze that protects us as it did protect Jeremiah. Because there's something very wonderful about the plan of salvation. It doesn't kind of arrive like a glowing light from heaven. It gets passed along in the way also ordinary words get passed along. And so just as the prophet spoke to Jerusalem in his time, Jesus spoke in the synagogue in his time, we are baptized to speak in our time. And we will come up inevitably against opposition, and we will be protected by God. That is his guarantee for the work that we have been baptized to do, so that we carry on the mission of the church, because official church members, like the clergy, for example, cannot be in every situation in the world. They can't be in the machine shops or the law courts or in the House of Representatives. They can't be in hospitals and so forth and so forth. But baptized lay people can. And baptized lay people can act like prophets. Quite often simply by doing their work, raising their families and so on, in the Catholic way. So in other words, using Catholic values of truth and goodness and love to inform the jobs that they're doing, the raising of families that they're doing, so that other people will see, without them going and proselytizing necessarily, but other people will simply see, wow, yeah, these are good people. They have a real sense of what human life is. After all, God created humanity and designed it in a certain way, and we know how he designed it. And so by seeing the good that we do, they will first of all learn something about God and his goodness, and hopefully they will then bring grace and truth and goodness into their world. And this is the direction in which the readings take us today. Thank you.